All right. This week we're going to be dealing with logarithms. What I'd like you guys to do this week is I'd like you to do the assessment without a calculator, okay? It's going to be dealing with some rules with logs and stuff like that, but I don't want you to get a calculator out and come up with the solutions that way. All right, so for example, one of the things that you have to be able to do this week is you have to be able to change from logarithmic form to exponential form and vice versa. You have to be able to rewrite something from an exponential form as a logarithm. You're not going to have to be able to solve exponential functions this week or equations or anything like that, but you will have to be able to rewrite problems. So for example, if I gave you something like, let's say I gave you, oops, let me turn on my marker here. If I gave you something like log base 2 of 4 is equal to, let's say, x, and I wanted you to rewrite this as an exponent, then you would rewrite it as 2 to the x power is equal to 4, and vice versa. If I gave you an exponent like this, you should be able to rewrite it as a logarithm like this. And that's, I think, the first part of the assessment today is just doing that, just being able to rewrite from log to exponent and exponent to log. Then there's also some rules that you have to know for logarithms. Here are, and if you went through the lesson tutorial this week before class, you'll see that we have a bunch of rules that we have to follow. So if I gave you something like the log base b of b is equal to 1, so if I gave you something like the log base 7 of 7, that is equal to 1, because 7 to what power is equal to 7? Well, 7 to the first power is 7. So anytime you have the base and the number the same, it just equals 1. And if you have the log base b of 1 is equal to 0, well, that's basically saying b to what power is equal to 1? Well, 0. B to the 0 power is equal to 1. So that's why that is equal to 0. We also have these properties here. The log base a of 1 is equal to 0 because a to the 0 is 1. We have the log base a of a is equal to 1 because a to the first is a. And then the log base a of x is equal to x. Why is that? Because we can move, for example, if I gave you something like the log base 2 of 2 to the fourth power, and I asked you to solve this, and there's problems on the assessment that are just this easy. Anytime you have an exponent out in front, we can bring it, or an exponent, we can bring it to the front. So I can rewrite this as 4 times the log base 2 of 2. Well, the log base 2 of 2 is just 1, so this would just be 4 times 1, which is 4. So that's one of those cool rules. Now, if I gave you something like this, let's say I gave you the log base 2 of 8 to the 5th power. Okay, what would that answer be? Without using a calculator, what would that answer be? And that's the type of problem that I have on the assessment this week. 15? I agree, it is 15. Very nice. And the reason it's 15 is because I can bring this 5 to the front here. So this would be 5 log base 2 of 8. Well, the log base 2 of 8 is just 3, because 2 to the third power is 8, so this is 3. So really I have 5 times 3, which is 15. I love these types of problems. It really shows if a student understands logarithms or not. Okay, so that is what we're going to be doing this week. Now the practice for this week, here is the code to get into there. I didn't get sound and I was not happy it didn't work. I'm taking it works now, Wesley? All right. Okay, so here's the Desmos presentation. Now, a lot of the problems tonight on your practice, there really isn't any work. I mean, you should be able to look at the practice this week and you should be able to give me the answers without doing a whole lot of work on these. Okay, now it's going to get tougher as we go through the next couple weeks. We're just using the rules this week. So for example, the first problem, it says express the equation in exponential form. Well, There's not a lot of work here. So what would my answer be for this problem? What would my answer be? Rewrite the logarithmic equation as an exponent. Letter D, okay, because when I have a log, the base to this power, so this would be 2, the third power is equal to 8. So that is absolutely correct. Okay. Practice problem number 2. Express the equation in logarithmic form. D, that was, you gave me D before I even asked the question. All right. So I have 2 to the third is equal to 8, so this would be log base 2 of 8 is equal to 3. So I'm going to say letter D. Wesley had it a long time ago. So yes, letter D would be correct. Now this one, we're not going to do any graphing this week. However, you should be able to answer this function. It says, find the function of the form y is equal to log base a of x whose graph is given. All right, so I look there, and for me, the first thing I see is they give me an ordered pair, 9, 2. So I know that when x is 9, y is equal to 2. So then I go back here to this. They gave me y is equal to log base a of x. I'm going to rewrite this as an exponent. So that would be a to the y is equal to x, right? Well, I know that when x is 9, y is 2, so I'm just going to put those in there. So a to the second is equal to 9. What does a have to be for this problem? 3, right? So a is equal to 3. So all I have to do is put 3 in here, and I'm done with my problem. So y is equal to the log base 3 of x, which is letter D again. When in doubt, choose letter D. That would be my philosophy. All right, let's take a look at this problem. In this problem, it says, express the equation in logarithmic form. Okay. Now, some kids are going to say, but Mr. Shanklin, none of your answers are logs. Okay. How come? Why isn't there a log in there? Ah, very good. When there is an e as the base, now when I rewrite this problem, I would do it like I normally do. I would go log base e of 0.7 is equal to x minus 1. But log base e is natural log. So that would be natural log of 0.7 is equal to x minus 1. So if I add 1 to both sides, I'd end up with natural log of 0.7 plus 1 is equal to x. Holy cow. Is point. It looks like letter A. I'm not so sure letter A is correct. Looks like letter D again, doesn't it? Yeah, I'm going to go with letter D again. All right. Any questions about any of the stuff that we've gone through so far? Okay. Any questions? All right. Next question. It says rewrite the logarithmic equation log base 4 of 1 over 16 equals -2 in exponential form. Okay, so just have to rewrite that. Ooh, I think we finally have an answer that's not letter D. Letter B. So if I was going to rewrite this, I'm going to go 4 to the negative second is equal to 1 over 16, which is letter B. That is correct. Rewrite the exponential equation 5 to the negative 3 is equal to 1 over 125 in logarithmic form. All right. What would that one be? As I said, this is like one of the easiest practices this week. Log base 5 of 1 over 25 is equal to -3. Letter B. I agree. Is this the one that I thought? Oh, yeah, okay. So part of your assessment this week is going to be to evaluate logarithms without using a calculator. So in this problem, it says evaluate the function f of x equals log base 3 of x when x equals 1 over 27. So basically what they're doing is they're asking you, what is this equal to? And that, you should be able to figure out what that is equal to without using a calculator. What does that equal? Letter D. I would agree. Because if I had to rewrite this thing, now I really wouldn't rewrite it. I would do this. I always just put an x here. So my question, when you have a log like this, it's basically the log to what power is equal to 1 over 27? Well, in order to get a fraction, we know that has to be a negative exponent, because 3 to the -1 is 1 over 3. 3 to the -2 is 1 over 3 squared, which is 1 over 9. 3 to the -3 is 1 over 3 to the third, which is 1 over 3 times 3 times 3, which is 1 over 27. So my answer, the log base 3 of 1 over 27 is -3. Okay. Any questions on that? Because I don't want you guys using a calculator to come up with those answers. Because you're going to end up with a decimal in the first place. Because I'll be able to tell real quick. It's like, oh, decimal answer? Probably using a calculator. Write the logarithmic equation, natural log of 5 is equal to 1.609 in exponential form. Okay, now in this problem, whenever I see natural log, first thing I look at is I say, oh, okay, that's the same thing as log base e of 5 is equal to 1.609. So then if I'm going to rewrite it as an exponent, it would be e to 1.609 is equal to 5. And is that letter A? That is absolutely letter A. So that is correct. Okay, you're going to find that this week's assessment is fairly easy. This is probably, nope, this is not the one. It says write the exponential equation e to the 1/2 equals 1.648 in logarithmic form. Again, this is going to be the log base e of 1.6487 is equal to 1/2, which is natural log. That should have been an e here. Natural log of 1.6487 is equal to 1/2. And that is letter A. That is absolutely correct. I thought there was a hard one on here someplace. Yeah, okay, this one. It says identify the x-intercept of the function. Okay, so when you look at it, this is a natural log. The graph is probably going to look something like this. So what they're asking you to do is they're asking you to find the x-intercept. Where does it cross the x-axis? Okay. Now, how do you do that? Well, whenever it crosses the x-axis, guess what? I don't know what the x value is, but I know the y value is 0. So we could plug 0 in here. So 0 is equal to 2 natural log of x minus 3. I can divide both sides by 2. So 0 is equal to natural log of x minus 3. I want to rewrite it as an exponent, so I'm going to rewrite this as the log base e of x minus 3 is equal to 0. So e to the 0 is equal to x minus 3. Anything to the 0 power is 1. X minus 3. I'm going to add 3 to both sides. X equals 4. So that was a kind of a tricky question. But you should be able to solve it without doing much work. Okay, now on the assessment this week, the first part of the assessment, problem number 1, it says write the logarithmic equation in exponential form. So what would I have here? What is the logarithmic equation in exponential form? So what would my answer be here? 4 squared is equal to 16. I agree. Now, there's I'd say there's probably like 8 to 10 questions here. And then after, well, there's like 4 here. And then after that, it says write the exponential form. Okay. So no, it says write the exponent in logarithmic form. So I'll give you something like this. I'll give you like a to the b is equal to c, and you have to rewrite that in logarithmic form. So, and it's hard, I'm sure it's hard to type this in, but this would just be log base a of c is equal to b. So that's what I'm looking for. So problem number 1 on the assessment today, you have to be able to rewrite logarithms as exponents and exponents as logarithms. Fairly easy thing to do, okay? Then problem number 2, it asks us to find a value without using a calculator. For example, it'll give us something like f of x is equal to log base 2 of x when x equals 64. So basically they're asking you to find, so you put 64 in for x. So what would that value be? What is the log base 2 of 64? What would my answer be there? 6. 2 times 2 is 4 times 2 is 8 times 2 is 16 times 2 is 32 times 2. Is that 6 or is that 5? I think that's 6. Yeah. So your answer would just be 6. That's it. And then, I'm not sure if I changed this or not. I did not. This is not the next type of problem. Let me jump out of here for a second. I want to show you what the next type of problem is here. And that was not it. I kind of changed things around. Okay. Going a little slow here. All right, so part 3. All right, so here, oops, I gotta, all right. So I gotta share this here with you guys. Okay, so problem number 3 on the assessment looks something like this. Okay, it says find the value of y, and it just has and this is where I don't want you guys using calculators. Okay, so what would the answer to problem number 1 be? 2. I agree. Y is equal to 3. All right, because 5 squared is 25. What about number 2? What would my answer be for problem number 2? 0. 3 to the 0 is 1. Awesome. Okay, and then here is one of the hardest types of problems that I can give you tonight. Well, it's not. I could give you a lot harder problems, but I did not. Let me go here. I just want to. Oh, it's not letting me switch out. Okay. So what if I gave you this problem right here? What would my answer be? 3 times log base 2 of 4. All right. So what is my answer there? 9 is correct. I mean, it looks like a tough problem because you have a log in there, but all you have to do is figure out what this is. Okay. Well, the log base 2 of 4 is 2. Okay, so I can just cross that out and just rewrite this as 3 to the second, which is just 9. So this week, I want you to solve all of the problems on the assessment without using a calculator, okay? Please do not use a calculator. I want to be able to see if you understand the rules for logarithms, and then next week we'll get into solving equations with logs. That is it for today. Any questions on any of that stuff? All right. If there are no questions, you guys have a great week. Try to stay warm. It is awfully cold outside. And if you do have any questions, please never hesitate to email or give me a call. Definitely would meet any of you in a session just to go through anything that you have questions on. All right. You guys have a good one. Bye.